A Christian student organization won a permanent place on the University of Iowa campus Wednesday. A federal court ruled that the university's human rights policy illegally targeted religious groups for requiring their leaders to believe in and follow their faith. In BLinC versus the University of Iowa, the university kicked Business Leaders in Christ, or BLinC, off campus because the group requires its student leaders to affirm and live by its religious beliefs. After the university admitted that it knowingly targeted and deregistered BLinC and other religious groups, the court ruled that the university must end its unequal treatment of religious student organizations. Eric Baxter, an attorney with Becket Law Firm representing the student group, joins us now with more. Eric, how big of a win was this?
It is a great win. It's one of the first and best decisions in the country on this issue. The judge was very clear that the University of Iowa has engaged in blatant religious discrimination against our clients. It's high time that ended, and the judge made clear she wants it to stop.
Do you think that this victory could influence cases at other universities around the country?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there have been a number of universities around the country that are trying to restrict religious groups on campus from requiring their leaders to be religious. It seems absurd, but there are a number of universities that have been trying to do that, and this decision sends a clear message that that's unconstitutional and it should not be happening.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. Let's broaden this out. Why do you think we are seeing so many instances where secular universities are targeting and pushing back against religious clubs and organizations?
It's unfortunate. You'd think that a university that's handing out PhDs would know something about the First Amendment. I'm afraid that sometimes there's a lack of diversity in some of these institutions where they're just not thinking about other people's viewpoints. And so this was really an astounding case where we interviewed a number of university officials who said they had red flags going off in their head that what they were doing was a constitutional violation, but they pressed forward anyway, allowing some groups to stay on campus, expressing their views, selecting leaders who embrace their views, but telling 32 religious organizations, and only religious organizations, that they could not select leaders who shared their religious beliefs.
Eric, do you think there's a double standard when it comes to what universities allow from, let's say, sororities and fraternities compared to religious-based clubs?
Absolutely. Religious groups just want to have leaders who share their beliefs. They open their doors to anybody. Our clients would accept any student who wanted to participate in their activities. They just ask that their leaders share their beliefs, share their mission. At the same time, the university is allowing fraternities and sororities, sports clubs, all kinds of groups to discriminate on the basis of sex, sexual orientation, gender identity. We have no problem with groups selecting leaders or forming membership around their identities or their beliefs, but they can't be allowing that for all groups except religious groups. Here, the university actually had a watch list of 32 religious groups that it intended to kick off campus if it would have won this lawsuit.
Let's talk a little bit more about the specifics of the case. What evidence was used actually to help BLinC win?
Well, as I mentioned, the interviews of 3 different university officials, the dean of students, another dean, the president of the student union on campus, they all testified that they had, as I mentioned, had red flags about this case. They knew that telling students to delete beliefs from their statement of faith was unconstitutional, yet they went ahead and told those students that they would just delete their beliefs about marriage and sexuality. They could stay on campus, otherwise they would be kicked off. And evidence that the university was allowing all kinds of other groups, political groups, advocacy groups, minority support groups, allowing them to select leaders who supported their mission and beliefs, which again we think is a good thing, but they can't allow that for those groups while forcing religious groups or restricting who religious groups can select as their leaders.
All right, Eric Baxter with Becket Law Firm. Thanks so much for your time today, Eric.
Thank you.